Melly case, YNW Melly, Jamell Demons versus State of Florida. All opinions are welcome. Just be blessed and not very messy. Let's get into it. So we're going to talk about, did Melly do it? Let's discuss. In 2019, the hip-hop community was shocked by the news that teen rapper YNW Melly, Jamell Demons is his real name, he was on a path to superstardom, and he was accused of killing his childhood friends, YNW Juvvy, real name Christopher Thomas Jr., and YNW Sakchaser, real name Anthony Williams. So his arrest, YNW Melly's arrest. The murders occurred on October the 26th, 2018. Melly wasn't officially charged until February 2019. His alleged accomplice, YNW Bortland, real name Cortland Malik, was picked up in Texas earlier that. Since Melly was charged, debates are happening in them YouTube streets regarding the motives behind his alleged actions. It's one thing to have your best friends backdoored, but to do the backdooring yourself, it adds to the shock. So the dichotomy of reactions. The response of YNW Melly being charged has been mixed. Some of y'all angry, focusing on the violation of unwritten codes within the rap culture that dictates disses or violence should primarily be directed towards your ops, your opponents. Others think like YNW Bortland should snitch on YNW Melly, despite snitching being a no-no in the culture. People angry at the hashtag Free Melly as it supports the release of Melly despite the serious nature of the allegations against him. Here's about the complexity of homicides. Statistically, homicides tend to be committed by individuals known to the victims, highlighting the unfortunate reality that people are often harmed by people they know. So this reinforces the perspective those who believe Melly is guilty because perpetrators of violence is done to people they know. So did Melly kill his friends? Okay, so the motives behind someone with murder on their mind can be for various reasons, such as disputes over money, jealousy, greed, or revenge. All of this is in play with the Melly case. The prosecutor don't have a motive, but there are some motives. In this case, hip-hop homicide. So as with any murder mystery, this hip-hop homicide involves conflicting theories and wild rumors. The one theory is that YNW Melly and YNW Sakchaser were involved in a sexual relationship, and Sakchaser was jealous of Melly, becoming closer with his girlfriend. I'm calling BS on this. I just don't think Melly and Sak was in a relationship. Okay, so that's number 2. The second motive, YNW Melly was not paying Sakchaser and Juvvy, who were supposedly the CEOs of the YNW brand and company. So this contradicts the prosecutor's claim that this is a gang. I don't believe there is an official paperwork that establishes any YNW members as the CEOs. How many of y'all reading this have started a business with like your childhood friends or maybe your college friends, and it didn't work out and y'all ain't really got the right paperwork in order? Or nothing like that. So I don't think that Melly was making millions. I don't know if it was on paper. It was on paper, but he certainly had the potential to make a lot of money. So Sak talking about he owing him $200,000 doesn't seem like a motive that to kill your friends. You know what I mean? My thinking is that they labeled themselves as CEOs of YNW, which is, real smart because artists, they tend to think about the money. They really don't think about the business side. So if, in that sense, the young man thinking about the business side, I have to give him kudos. However, Based on the YNW members' social media presence, it doesn't seem like any of them had the maturity or business acumen to expect to be paid as CEOs, and certainly not Sakchaser. I understand that not all CEOs have perfect behavior. I know they don't. Some of them be caught in all kinds of stuff. So I'm not like suggesting that to mean that Sak, because of what he's accused of, he couldn't be a CEO. But it don't seem like any of them had the qualifications. I suspect the guys came up with the ideas over smoking a blunt. I don't know. So YNW Melly, he took off as the artist, and the label or distribution company, they invested the money in him. And again, was it just liquid money? What a lot of these artists will come out and tell you is that basically they have received a loan from their record label. So they'll rent you a house, they'll rent you cars, they'll front you money for clothes and all of that. But as far as giving you actual money, you don't have control of that. Because I was listening to an interview on Drea O channel, and she had an artist on there. I believe his name is Spendo. I can't remember his name, but if y'all are not familiar with the Drea O channel, go check it out. Anyway, this artist was saying, like, she was like, you had the #1 song in Chicago. He was like, I didn't make not one dime on that song. I don't own that song. I'm not making no money off that song. So a lot of times we look at these artists and we say they rich, and they don't have any liquid money. They might be rich on paper or have money. He said he had a condo that was being paid for, cars. He had a condo that was being paid for. He had access, or he had a car. He had jewelry. He had clothes. He could eat the finest food, but all that, you ain't got no money. So them saying that it was over money, did Melly really have some money, or was that money on paper? Y'all tell me. So they was living rent free. YNW Juvvy, YNW Portland. They were living rent free in this rented house. And I heard the house, they got evicted. After Melly and them went to jail, they got evicted. So, but rumors. So what is another motive Melly may have had if he did it? Again, I'm waiting till the trial is over to make my decision. But rumors on the YouTube streets is that YNW Sakchaser and Melly's mom, Jamie King, was feuding. Sak apparently didn't have any respect for Jamie, and he pulled out a weapon on her, allegedly. All of this is allegedly. He pulled out a weapon on her. And so they saying that's one of the motives, that, he was disrespecting him. Another reason they may say is a motive, Melly has, openly discussed his split personalities. He said he got a split personality. He got a person in him called Melvin. And Melvin is the one that will get on your ass. And then, so maybe that Melly, and then the gender bending, I think he got one named Marvin. And this split personality conversation, it's been a topic of, Melly has shared about this in interviews and explored it in his song collaboration with Kanye West, mixed personalities. I believe, just based on Melly allegedly having a troubled childhood, being put in juvenile detention, being bullied in, I think it was high school, so having a fire, I believe he could have some issues going on. All Black America got PTSD. That's just facts. So, another thing is, Sakchaser, now this information I'm sharing, it's alleged, but it's in the deposition. So they say Sakchaser, it don't say he was a bully in the deposition, but they say he was a creep. They say, he beat up on Melly and the other friends. He sent nude pictures to Melly's girlfriend. And they say he had to wear a bell on his neck to keep from sexually molesting his sisters. So this is deep. And I'm not including this information in this video, as hurtful as it may be. to put out something new, because this information is in documented paperwork. So y'all, this is just a tragic situation all the way around. You know, people say, how can he do his friends like that? People, at some point, I like I said, my decision, I'm waiting till all the evidence comes in, and I wouldn't vote for the death penalty. But they say, how can you do your friends like that? Well, we've already discussed that people hurt the people that's closest to them. And it's unlikely that you will hurt a stranger. Statistics prove you hurt the people that's close to you. Also, YNW Juvvy's father, Christopher Thomas Sr., he known as Spoon, he said his son, YNW Juvvy and YNW Sakchaser, they was the real steppers, the real hitters in the group. He said he don't know how Melly got this off on his son, if Melly did it. This, like I said, this is just a four-way tragedy. It really is a four-way tragedy, because you got young men, all of them were like 19 and 18, except Sakchaser. He was a little bit older. I believe he was 21 at the time. And at 19, your brain isn't fully developed. In society, what they quick to do with black men, they quick to say trash and throw y'all away. They usually don't do nothing about like homicides or nothing like that. If Melly wasn't famous, Juvvy's homicide, rest in peace, YNW Juvvy, and Sak's homicide, Melly would be, if he was just an average person, he'd be walking free. He'd be walking free, because they don't care. And that's, it's deeper than just they don't care, but it's so much that goes on in these communities where homicides happen that, you know, as soon as they picking up one body, they gotta go get some other ones. So I ain't really want to dive too deep in they don't care, because just to make that blanket statement, I kind of would like to break it down more. But I'm curious of what y'all think about this hip-hop homicide. My opinion, and I am blessed and highly favored, and some of y'all is blessed and some of y'all is messy. My opinion is I'm holding out until I hear all of the case. That's the right thing to do on any case. We can have things in our mind. We can have, one day you could think, oh yeah, they did it. And then one day you could think like, nah, he ain't did it. They ain't proved it. So you can go back and forth, but ultimately we owe it to YNW Melly to hear all the facts. If you was a juror on the trial, you can't just say, or you shouldn't just say, I made up my mind, I know he did it. You are supposed to hear the entire case and then deliberate and make the decision, did he do it? You ain't supposed to just put that jacket on that he did it. But I understand in our minds, we do that every single day. I told somebody asked me, excuse me, y'all. Somebody asked me, have I read the paperwork on YNW Juvvy's father, Christopher Sr., about the alleged accusations of sexual molestation? Or it's in some paperwork, official paperwork, they say. I haven't read it. I don't need to open up another trauma jar. But I'll say this, I don't have a hell or a heaven to put that man in. That man is not on trial for that, so I can't make a decision. No, I'm saying I've made a decision. Let me slow down. I think Spoon did it. I do. But if he was in court for doing it, and if I was a juror, I would weigh out all the evidence. That young lady has been through a lot of trauma. What I mean by that, that's his daughter. And she lost her mother. And then these things about her father. And even if her father didn't do that, even if she did have emotional issues, who wouldn't as a child to lose your mother? You know, so I would weigh it out. If Spoon was on trial and I was a juror, I would hear all the facts. I would hear all the facts, because that's what we are charged to do, to hear all the facts, and I would make my decision. I wouldn't just convict him. I wouldn't just say, oh, yeah, you did it. Yeah, you know what I mean? So anyway, y'all, thanks for listening. I'm going to be bringing these videos every day. My goal is to bring them every day until court resumes on July 10th. So until court resumes in the YNW Melly case on July 10th. Some of y'all is blessed and some of y'all is messy. We've been on this earth so long, being 80% blessed and 20% messy. We're going to give you that, because You've been here too long. Mess is all around us. How could we not engage in mess? I'm hoping for the best outcome for everyone involved in this case, including Melly's family, YNW Juvvy's family, YNW Sakchaser's family, YNW Bortland's family. Healing to all. Stay blessed and not so much messy.